Lord and his servitor is very sweet and transcendental. The servitor is always seeking an opportunity to render some service to the devotee. He takes greater pleasure in his pure devotees, assuming the advantageous position of ordering him, and he does in being the giver of orders. So we've been worshipping Lord Damodar last month, since the end of last week anyway, where Krishna, as a small child, is being tied up by Mother Jasoda and scolded by Mother Jasoda. And this is very amazing because Krishna is the supreme controller, and he's controlling everyone, yet he's afraid of his mother. His mother is ordering him around. So he actually takes pleasure in that, because in the spiritual sky there are thousands and thousands of Vaikuntha planets. Vaikuntha means without anxiety. Kunta means anxiety, Vai means without. So in all these planets, all the residents in those planets, they're all devotees of Krishna, but they're worshipping him with awe and reverence as the Supreme Lord. But in Krishna Loka, where Krishna resides in his Swayam Rupa with two arms and has his childhood pastimes, there he takes pleasure in the devotees climbing on his back, ordering him around, chastising him, and so on. He takes pleasure in that. Prabhupada gave the example once that, I can't remember who the Prime Minister was, but the Prime Minister of England was busy, and there was one of the chief ministers was waiting outside his room. So he kept knocking on the door. Is the Prime Minister available yet? No, he's still busy. Knock, knock, knock. 20 minutes later, Prime Minister still busy? Yes, sorry. And 20 minutes later, all right, he'll see you now. And the man peeps in the door and he sees that Prime Minister's on all fours on the ground and his child is riding on his back. So this is the position of Krishna. Even though he's the Supreme Lord of everything, he enjoys dealing with his devotees in these loving pastimes, where he takes a minor role. So Arjuna is, Krishna is called Parthasarathi because he's serving his devotee Arjuna as charioteer on the battlefield. So the battle hasn't started yet, and Arjuna has asked Krishna to pull the chariot in between the two armies. Now these armies are huge. Many millions of men are on both sides. And they're all great warriors who've never been defeated in battle, most of them. And they have weapons which cannot be defeated. So just before everything starts, Arjuna shoots an arrow into the other army, and it lands directly at Dronacharya's feet. Dronacharya is the guru who taught Arjuna how to do the martial arts, fighting, Kshatriya. So he gave Arjuna the ability and weapons to be able to kill him. So Arjuna offers his respects to his spiritual master by shooting an arrow, and then Dronacharya shoots an arrow back and it grazes the helmet of Arjuna, and that is the blessings of his spiritual master. Even though he knew that Arjuna has the ability to kill me, I give my blessings to him. So this is happening just before the battle starts. He takes greater pleasure in his pure devotees assuming the advantageous position of ordering him, and he does in being the giver of orders. As master, everyone is under his orders, and no one is above him to order him. But when he finds that a pure devotee is ordering him, he obtains transcendental pleasure, although he is the infallible master of all circumstances. Krishna is called Anandavardhana because he is always increasing in pleasure. He's called Bhakta Vatsala because he is the lover of his devotees, and he is called Rasa Parayana and Kali Parayana and Rasa Rasika because he enjoys these loving exchanges with his devotees. The devotees love Krishna, Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Dharma Pran. Krishna is my mother, Krishna is my father, Krishna is my life and soul. There is nothing else except Krishna. This is how the devotee feels. And Krishna feels the same way about his devotees, that he'll do anything for his devotees. He'll even drive the chariot of his devotee. As a pure devotee of the Lord, Arjuna had no desire to fight with his cousins and brothers, but he was forced to come onto the battlefield by the obstinacy of Duryodhana, who was never agreeable to any peaceful negotiation. Therefore, he was very anxious to see who was the leading persons present on the battlefield. Although there was no question of peacemaking endeavour on the battlefield, he wanted to see them again and see how much they were bent on demanding an unwanted war. So I was describing last time also, it's the Kauravas and the Pandavas. The Kauravas have a bigger army, they have 11 Akshahinis, and their leader is actually Duryodhana is the real leader, but they have a commander-in-chief of the army who is called Bhishma, grandfather Bhishma, a very powerful warrior. So anyway, Dhritarashtra was born blind. He was the king, meant to be the king, but because he was blind, he couldn't be king, so his brother Pandu became king. And that made him always envious of Pandu. Pandu's sons were called the Pandavas, who were fighting on the battlefield, and Arjuna was the second son. So Arjuna is asking who is on the other side, and he can see there his grandfather Bhishma, he can see his guru Dronacharya, he can see his 100 cousins on the other side. He can see Kripacharya, also a teacher, great guru. He can see friends and all sorts of relatives are there. And they're determined to fight him on the battlefield, even though they're relatives and friends. So he becomes bewildered and he doesn't want to fight. He's a devotee at heart and he doesn't want to kill these people. But Krishna's purpose can never be thwarted, and Krishna wants one of those Pandavas to be the king, because Yudhishthira is the son of Dharma, the son of religion personified. Never told a lie in his life, always completely pure, and Krishna wanted him to be the king of the world. And for this purpose he wanted to eliminate the entire other army and all of the powerful warriors who were not necessary. In the beginning of the Krishna book it says that once upon a time the earth was overburdened by the defence forces of many ungodly kings. So when Krishna appears, it's for two reasons. Parichanaya sadhanandanasa chadaskritam. Krishna comes to please his devotees mainly, but he also comes to kill the demons or those who are irreligious. In this way, Lord Vishnu has 4 arms. You see pictures of Lord Vishnu, he's holding in these 2 arms usually a lotus flower and a conch, and in these 2 arms he's got a club and a disc. On these 2 sides, the lotus flower and the conch are meant for benedicting devotees. Sometimes Krishna will give the flower to someone, and sometimes Krishna will touch someone with that conch, like he touched Dhruva Maharaj, and immediately Dhruva Maharaj was filled with all Vedic knowledge. So he was benedicted in that way. And his club is called Komadaki, his conch shell is called Panchajanya. So they are for defeating enemies. At the beginning of the battle, when all of the warriors on the side of the Pandavas blew their conch shells, Krishna also blew his, and the tumultuous sound of all those conch shells together shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. It was a transcendental vibration.